Guys, welcome back. We're doing another mini Schnauzer. It's a $3 entry, 37,200 entrants, 100K prize pool, 10K to first, and your typical scoring, half point PPR and start 3 wide receivers. Typical underdog fare. We are in the draft. Gibbs is off the board. Robinson's off the board. Chase, Nakua, and Smith and Jigba are about to be off the board, and we get our selection at pick 8. Feel pretty comfortable with the 8 slot. We are going to get our choice of, like, McCaffrey, or, well, Taylor's off the board, but Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, those sort of guys. So feeling pretty good. Earlier in drafts, about a month ago, when you got CeeDee Lamb down here, Prescott was falling down to his ADP between 81 and 82. Now, interestingly enough, Prescott is going a lot earlier. I'm seeing him go at the turn and move up, so we might not get Prescott with Lamb, but here I'm going to take Amon-Ra above CeeDee Lamb anyway. So if Amon-Ra had gone and we were sitting there between McCaffrey and CeeDee Lamb, I probably would have been inclined to click into CeeDee Lamb just to get my marquee receiver up there, but easy selection with Amon-Ra. But what I was saying is that Dak Prescott's ADP just a month ago, it still is, it's 80, but it is creeping up, and I'm seeing more commonly now Prescott go back here at 74, 75 because, or even, 70, 73, because the Pickens player here looks to grab Dak Prescott. Because what ends up happening is that wall of quarterbacks before Prescott, which is Jackson, May, Daniels, Burrow, Hurts, Williams, they all kind of go in that range. This is that round 6 territory where they all just fly off the board because they're better than the positional players there. So anyway, all that to say, we don't have that problem on our hands, and we do have plenty of teams stacked up with Lamb and Prescott from previous drafts that, even though that's a harder stack to achieve now, I feel good about our portfolio having a significant amount of that. So, again, everybody's so far obeying the rules with the exception of the quick player opting into Brown down here, which I don't hate. Typically, I think you see a lot of people double stack running back here, but pulling up a wide receiver to get better balance drafting from this position is not a super egregious move. And if he believes in AJ Brown's upside this year, it makes a lot of sense. For us, this is going to be I was going to say a really easy Chase Brown. There's also Marion Hampton. Which would we prefer? I know we have a fair amount of Amon-Ra and Chase Brown. I don't know how much of Marion Hampton we have. You know what? I'm going to, just for funsies, I'm going to click Hampton here. You could make an argument for me for either of these guys. You could make an argument for Chase Brown above Hampton or Hampton above Brown. I think the floor, provided their offenses stay healthy and are close to projection, the floor for both of these guys is kind of a top 10 to top 12 finish. The ceiling for both of these guys is they sneak into that top 5 running back discussion, or they finish just outside of it, 5, 6, 7. And it's kind of the same prospect for both. I think Brown's got a little more of a higher upside just because of the way that offense works. But Hampton in a great spot with McDaniels, and feel pretty good about pairing him up with Amon-Ra St. Brown to start our draft off. After we take Hampton, Chase Brown, Achane, Bowers, London, Collins, and Love all go off the board. Love going a little higher here, but everybody, again, obeying the rules of ADP as we move through this board. Rashee Rice off at 24 to pair up with Gibbs. They'll probably snap off like a Devontae Smith or a Pickens here. They might take a Trey McBride. If McBride makes it back to us at 32, we're definitely going to take him. Again, I've been talking about how it gets kind of hard in rounds 2, 3, 4. If you take Bowers, Loveland, or McBride to get a balanced offense that you feel really, really good about. That being said, it's trickier on this end of the board because of the value that's loaded down here. There's so many valuable upside players I feel like floating, that their ADPs float them around down here, that you feel easier to catch up from the back end of the board after you potentially take a blue chip tight end piece. So far, actually, McBride has not gone off the board, and McBride is making moves towards us. If McBride doesn't go here, I think it's a pretty easy click at 32 over Flowers, Williams, Higgins, McConkey. I mean, I'd love to have Trey McBride here. Hopefully, our friend Woodwan is not on auto draft. I'd say hopefully they're not on auto draft, but they opt for McBride anyway, which I think is the right choice. I don't think I'm going to take Kyron Williams here. It's between Ladd McConkey, Josh Allen, and Javonte Williams for me. I think I'm highest on Ladd. We already have Amari in Hampton, which kind of makes me feel a little ish about that, but I'm okay consolidating my bet. We'll obviously to be drafting Herbert here at 80. Herbert's ADP lines up nicely with that. He tends to go at 81, so we'd be getting him slightly ahead, like right on, basically ADP there. So we'll be looking for that. And I don't mind taking a quarterback here in the sixth round as well. And if we go 6, 7 on ADP and double tap quarterback, we'll probably just end with two quarterbacks and feel pretty good about the density of talent that we got between those two options. So we'll keep our eye out on round 6 and see what happens there. Yeah, because again, in that round 6, you've got Daniels, Drake May, Jalen Hurts, Taylor Williams, even Lamar Jackson, butted up against players like Parker Washington. And I think that the quarterback value is so much heavier there. All right, so we have somebody pulling the hero RB strategy from the 12 spot, which you don't tend to see because there's such good running back value back here that you tend to see the 12 drafter double tap running back, or at least two running backs, or even sometimes three running backs through four because of the options available. The fact that they chose to go Wilson, McLaurin, and AJ Brown is a really interesting sort of stack here with James Cook. It's an interesting strategy. I'm interested to see how that team splices out. I am praying to God we get Javonte Williams here. This would be such a great pairing with Hampton. They've already got Genty and Walker, right? So, they do with Waddle. This is great. I love Allen. I think Allen's an insane click. I can't believe he's falling the way he is. But, dude, Javonte Williams with Amari and Hampton, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and McConkey, I think is as good as it gets out of the 8 slot. I am super high on Javonte Williams this year. I think we know that he's a staple piece of that offense, and will probably produce easily inside the top 10. And so through 4 rounds, we have a perennial top 5 receiver, someone I forecast to be a top 10 receiver, and 2 top 10 running backs who Hampton has a top 5 upside. So I love our balance. I love our talent density at these positions. I love the fact that we have 2 anchor-ish pieces in both capacities of a wide out and running back. Can't ask for a much better start than this. Wild to see Allen fall to 44. That's about as late as you see him go. Allen would have been the other consideration there, and you guys know that I overdraft Cam Stadaboo like a nutbag, and I'm trying to diversify that a little bit because I'm so overweight on him. But had this board drafted out differently, and typically where you see McMillan and Wilson and Waddle in this range, if Allen and Etienne and Williams had gone up here instead, I probably would have opted into Stadaboo to balance out our backfield. But getting Javonte Williams feels like an absolute gift here. And Allen to the Neighbors Bowers Taylor player, this actually feels like a very unique stack out of 5 here. And I'm actually pretty impressed with it. This is all to the upside. I mean, you've got the number 1 tight end, the number 1 quarterback, a player, if he gets healthy and stays healthy, can be a number 1 receiver, and a running back who can be a number 1 running back. Now, the more likely outcome for Taylor is he's a top 5 or a top 7, but Bowers and Allen are absolutely, if they stay healthy, the number 1 candidates to finish number 1 in their position. And Neighbors, we know what he's capable of. So I actually like the way they constructed their team there. They shot all to the upside on these players. And in these $3 tournaments, or actually in any of these tournaments, I think that's the way to go. You want to shoot all to the upside, right? So I've had to turn off my my redraft brain in some of these tournaments. Consolidating on double stacks, etc., is not something I tend to do with a whole lot of fervor. Okay, we're on the clock here. I like all of these receivers. Lamar Jackson is a good pick, but I think we can get Drake May in the next round. So I think I'm going to click in Christian Watson. I think he's got tremendous upside. It would have been between Watson and Carnell Tate in this range for me. So we'll see what happens. But I'm happy to have him as my 3rd receiver. And again, we can look at a Joe Burrow or Drake May or whoever here at 65. And the reason I wanted to opt into Watson or one of the receivers over Jackson is because we're going to look to double stack potentially 2 quarterbacks here at 65 and 80. And if we click in Jackson there, and then we look at the ADP at 65, I like these range of players a lot less. It's not that I don't like Tyson, and I'm not super high on Washington. I just probably don't want to grab Warren there. And that's the other consideration is that we could look to grab Tyler Warren here if he falls to 65. What's his ADP? It's right there at 64. We could look to grab Tyler Warren here and then pick up Herbert as our first quarterback at 80 and then pull Jones up when we get down here. I think Jones is going right around 140. Pull him up to like 126, 128, 137. So that's an option. I guess we'll see what happens with quarterbacks here. Warren feels like a really good piece of the puzzle to have. There's also Jadarian Price, which again I feel like he's a good piece of the puzzle with these two running backs already. So let's just kind of see how this goes. Warren goes there. So now between Adunze, who I have a ton of, Thomas and Tyson and Jadarian Price, I like all these guys. The thing about this is that I already have three good receivers, and I have two good running backs as well. And we'll get, I think, better running back value down the board. Jadarian Price is more replaceable than Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow. Now, yeah, we'll be unstacked with these guys, but I think I'm going to click in Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels here. I kind of just split the difference between these two and just go A, B, C, D. So again, over this range of players, while I'd be happy to have them, I think I am going to click into Joe Burrow here. Unfortunately, snipe him from, well, the Higgins player did not choose to take him here, choose to take Jackson instead. So they had their option to do Jackson Burrow if they wanted. I'm going to snipe him off of the Chase player, unfortunately for him. And, yeah, he'll be unstacked, but that's okay. That's totally okay. Now, if I known I was going to get Burrow down here, maybe Chase Brown was the right stick here. But again, we're going to be looking for Herbert rated ADP here and feel pretty good about it. And then probably look to pick up a wide receiver or running back here at 89, which in that range you still have good value. You're looking at, the Jaden Reed down through Josh Downs. And if we had gotten Tyler Warren, I probably would be prioritizing Downs so that we could go ahead and get them both stacked up with one Daniel Jones. So if we go Burrow and Herbert here, I probably am done at quarterback, and then we'll just look to stash positional value forever and for always. Again, with St. Brown, another consideration would say, nope, we're not going Burrow here. We'll pull up a Tyson or pull up a Price or a Warren. And then what we do for quarterback later is grab like a Goff and grab a Herbert, but then grab like a Goff and somebody else and go three. I think I'm interested in trying a 2 QB build here where we snap off Burrow and Herbert. I will say though that what ends up happening when you get into like Aaron Rodgers ADP is that he's just, I think, a better click than a majority of the other players there. Same thing with Fernando Mendoza, even though it looks like Kirk Cousins. Well, it doesn't look like Kirk Cousins has basically been announced the starter as training camp is opening. I still think having that third QB down there is probably pretty valuable in these drafts. So we'll see. Jaden Daniels falls all the way to pick 72. That's wild. Typically, you see him going here. So, we saw a run on wide receivers here, which is interesting. So the A.J. Brown player snapped off Drake May for the stack there, put Pollard in the mix with James Cook. I don't mind that. I feel like they do have to catch up pretty considerably at running back. I think James Cook isn't a phenomenal anchor, but they're going to have to prioritize running back, where typically this spot has to prioritize receiver. And there's so many good receivers down here. There's in a couple of turns down here, you wind up in this turn specifically, you wind up with your range of like Watson through Tyson typically. And then same thing happens down here with that Godwin through like Addison range, a Godwin Addison range. So it is interesting to see them do that. We're on the clock. We're going to take Justin Herbert as we prophesized. There would be Tucker Kraft there as well if we wanted to say, hey, we'll wait and go with Jordan Love later, picked up Kraft and double stacked it with Watson. But I'm cool with this. I think that this is good. And on the way back, we're still going to have a really nice piece, whether it be a Tucker. I don't think Tucker Kraft will, but a Tucker Kraft, Cortland Sutton. You got Harvey, Dowdle, Addison. Love Godwin back here. Like Josh Downs now that there's still news that Alec Pierce is probably going to start at least off season on PUP, which he'll probably be good to go week one, but I think Downs is a great wideout number four. Dowdle's fine too, and so is Blake Corum. The only thing is that I like Dobbins, and we can probably pick up Dobbins on the way back through. And if we don't pick up Dobbins, there's still Gainwell and White, and I'm okay with pulling one of them up. And I think that the tier break after Downs down to Worthy and Wilson is significant. And then obviously with the information about Parasol recently, Yeah, there's just a variety of reasons that I think picking up one of these wideouts in this range is a good idea. Now, if Sutton, Addison, and Downs all go off the board, I don't think I'll reach down on Worthy. In that instance, I will grab a Hubbard probably, Chuba, whatever the pronunciation is. But it looks like now we will get one of these three wideouts, and I will be happy to have them. I think we are going to lean into a traditional build, but if we do end up with two quarterbacks, we'll probably stick a sixth running back, tack on a sixth running back. Okay, pretty easy Addison for me here. You can make an argument for Downs, but I think having Addison as your fourth wide receiver is an excellent place to be, right? If you Addison is your first alternative, you're doing great. So far, I know that we're stacked in on the Chargers here, which if you're going to stack in on a team, I think the Chargers is one of them, right? Chargers, the Bears, the Bills. I think these are all teams that you can stack in pretty well and just be like, hey, I have this offense. I feel great. Um, so we're good on that front. And then as we wheel around here to 104, if Dobbins falls, I'm interested in him. If Kyle Pitts, if somebody else, I'd be interested in this range. Jacoby Myers is good, and then there's Gainwell and Rashad White. I mean, all of these players are of significant interest to me, and we will hopefully have our pick of two of them. We pick again at um, 113, and you know your cutoff there is I guess Jordan Mason is down there as well. So okay, so we're feeling pretty good. That makes me feel even better about taking Addison here because I think personally J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, and Jordan Mason are kind of all the same guy. Gainwell is different from those guys, and what I mean by that is J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, and Jordan Mason can all be the lead back. I don't think Gainwell's going to be the lead back. I think he's going to be the situational passing back, which I still think he's going to score great points. And I think you want him, if you can get him and it fits your construction, in your room. But with Amari Hampton and Javonte Williams, if we add a, a starting running back prospect to that stack of players, feels great, man. Feels absolutely great. And then there's Matthew Golden down here, too. So I think if I have my option, I'd love to be able to snap off um, sort of one of each of these. Grab my third running back and my fifth wide receiver. Feel really good about both of my rooms, and then we'll start targeting the sort of Dalton Kincaid through, Chid and Gatson range of um, tight end threats, and we'll probably pull them up and draft like three of them and feel good about it. All right, so it looks like J.K. Dobbins is going to be right on ADP here. I've got a lot of him. If we take him here, and I'm not going to take Parasol obviously, given the report from yesterday regarding his knee. I'm not going to take him um, over J.K. Dobbins. I'm not going to pull up Rashad White, Kenny Gainwell, or Golden. I mean, Rashad White would be my other consideration. I guess I'll just snap Dobbins in here. Hope he can stay healthy. If Golden wheels to us, we'll take him. If he doesn't, we'll probably grab another running back here. But I really would like to get a fifth receiver in this range because I think the drop off actually has already happened. I think Golden is closer to Wandell Robinson, Dobbs, and Concepcion. Although I'm high, this is the last. This is kind of the last tier of receiver where I'm hyped, right? It's Golden, it's Wandale, it's Romeo Dobbs, it's Casey Concepcion. Like I'm still hyped. I stopped being hyped at Higgins. Like I'm no longer hyped at all. McMillan, I get hype again. I guess I'm getting more hype on Stribling, but this is just it. Like these are the guys where after these guys, and I guess we have the type of wide receiver room that could float Pearsall if we thought that he was going to be a decent threat later in the season. I'm just not convinced of that. So, of these three guys, I think I'm pretty interested in actually Dobbs over Wandell Robinson. I think Wandell Robinson has a good spot in that offense. I think that offense is going to take a tremendous step forward. But I think Dobbs is a touchdown guy entering an offense that needs a touchdown guy. And yeah, AJ Brown's going to get insane amount of looks for sure. But he's also, if he's producing well, probably going to get double teamed a fair amount. Interestingly enough, we would have gotten Goff. So maybe taking Joe Burrow unstacked earlier was a mistake. We could have ended up with Herbert, Goff, and then potentially looked to grab whoever third. And then we could have gotten a better positional player in that Burrow range. We could have gotten a Tyson to add to our room or a Price or a Warren. but I'm okay with this. We drafted plenty. It's kind of what it is. No draft regrets for sure. All right, I feel really good about our wideout room. St. Brown, McCarthy, Watson, Addison, Dobbs. We will grab at least two more, so we'll be good there. Probably need two more running backs. Remains to be seen whether we'll grab a third quarterback or not. We'll just evaluate that as it rolls through. And then obviously we're going to stack three tight ends. So for value here at 128 and 137, if we look at the board, we are in the Isaiah Likely, Jake Ferguson range. There's also Keaton Mitchell could be of interest to us with Amari Hampton, and then we just know we have that backfield. In fact, that's probably what we want to do. And I actually think we're right on ADP. So this is what I might do because I want to prioritize that. I might take Keaton Mitchell at 138. I don't think he's likely to make it back to us at 137, given who he's being drafted against. And then just take whoever on the turnaround. I don't really, it doesn't really matter. 149, I think, is before our next pick. Yeah, we're at 152. So if we don't, if we grab um, Keaton Mitchell up here, that could be what I think happens if we grab Keaton Mitchell is we get all of their rushing touchdowns. Yeah, Vidal, we could grab him in the very, very end and just have the whole Chargers backfield. Um, yeah, we actually that might be the thing to do. Grab Keaton Mitchell here, grab Vidal in the final round. We have all of the Chargers backfield, feel awesome about it, and yeah, if we do that, we probably miss Likely. I do like Likely a ton this year. I think he's sick. I just kind of want to grab Keaton Mitchell and try this strategy out where we're gonna have, we'll grab Kamoni Vidal as our sixth running back probably at the very end, and then we just have all of the Chargers backfield. It doesn't matter which one of them is going off. We have them all. And we have McConkey also stacked with Herbert, and then there's a chance that we do get Gatson stacked as well. He's 149. He could fall in. On the turnaround here, if we wanted to grab a McMillan, we could. If we wanted to grab a Woody Marks, we could. Um, they're both going to be available to us. We're at 137, so we'd be pulling them up a little bit. Both are options. Both are good options. I kind of would have preferred one of the tight ends. And then I don't want to pull Gatson this far up. I think we'll let him drop. So I guess there's also a Chig if we wanted him. Um, Travis Hunter's in this range. Of all these guys, I'm highest on McMillan. There also is the option to just grab Gatson. We'd be pulling him up. Let's see, we have 15 seconds. We can talk about it for a sec. We'd be pulling him up pretty significantly. No, I think we try to let Gatson fall, but we're pulling up any of these guys, right? You know what? Let's snap in Jalen McMillan. I'm overweight on him. I love him. I love having him as now my sixth receiver. It's freaking sick. We probably only need one more receiver. We know we're good there. Hopefully, Gatson makes it back to us. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If he doesn't, our tight end room's in a suffer. But there's also Benton Strange and Hunter Henry back here, and I like both these guys. Not Tajay Spears. I like both these guys. Juwan Johnson, Kenyon Sadiq is fine. So candidly, we'll probably look to double tap in um, tight end on our next two picks to make sure we end up with because I think the tier drop off after Sadiq. Schultz is kind of in there too. So is AJ Barner. I think you can get good value here, but I think it's decently steep. So the only other question is, do we want to sneak in a third quarterback when we already have Burrow Herbert? And I don't know that we do. If we had good stacking options, right? Like if a Kyler Murray or somebody like that was still there, it might be a consideration. But with the way that we've constructed our team, I actually am pretty content to just stick with Burrow and Herbert and say, stay healthy, guys. Please. Stay healthy and produce. Bye week is split on them. We're good there. Um, yeah. Only other consideration would be running back through here, but I think we're okay, especially if we're going to grab Kamoni Vidal at the very end. It's almost like saying, hey, like, we just have the Chargers backfield. No matter what happens, we have the starting back in that. Okay, Gatson goes off, sucks, but I'm not super upset. We just have that backfield, and having that backfield feels really strong with Mike McDaniel as the OC. If you just all of a sudden say, hey, you're going to get all of that upside. And it doesn't matter what flavor Mike McDaniel's into it. Even if Hampton's going to have some trade off time with these guys, it's like, cool. If one of them gets hot, we got them. Like, it's pretty good. Like I said, I do want, if I can get two of these tight ends here, I think that's what I want to do. Even Dalton Schultz is in that mix. and I guess to a lesser degree AJ Barner. AJ Barner's down at 174 though, so we might be able to pick him up a little bit past ADP here. Juwan Johnson goes. Yeah, that's where all these go. I guess Gatson over McMillan may have been the play there. It would have been a reach, but who do we want? Do we want Strange or do we want Hunter Henry? Hmm. I like Henry's weekly upside. I'm going to snap in Strange here. The Drake May drafters down here, so they'll probably grab Henry as their third. I would think they do with one of their two picks, but either way, I think it's a pretty even bet. And then again, we'll grab another tight end here and feel pretty good about it. And yeah, man, I love our team. I absolutely love our team. I think this is a phenomenal team. And again, I don't know that you're supposed to take all three pieces of a backfield. I don't know if you're giving yourself enough weekly diversified upside. I am pretty high on that week 17 matchup against the Chiefs. So I think there's a world where this isn't the worst strategy ever. This is actually maybe kind of cool. But if we are going to go with three pieces out of the same backfield, I think we do want a sixth running back, and our double QB will allow us to do that while still having seven wideouts and three tight ends. So that is where we'll basically be trading our third QB for a sixth running back in the form of wideout. Okay, Henry makes it all the way back to me. I love to see that. That's awesome. So I feel like we caught up pretty well getting Benton Strange and Hunter Henry. These are both the same guy, and we got the Hunter Henry to fall almost a full round. So we feel pretty good. Feel pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, they're both unstacked, but it's okay. 176, 185. If we still have AJ Barner on the board, I will grab him as my third tight end and be done. You have Dylan Sampson and Brian Robinson in that range. I don't think, again, we're not going to opt into a third quarterback. I guess Helms down there too. Okay, so he didn't make it back. He went off the board real fast. The get is up on Barner. Tucker's down here. Davis is down here. That's all good. So maybe one of those guys will slot in his five. Kimoni Vidal's in a slot in his sixth. And we do need one more wide receiver, which I'm okay with any of these guys. I don't think I see. Is there any backstacking option here? Not really. Right with her, there's nothing down here. Just Trey Harris. But did we already go past Trey Harris round? I always get Trey Harris lost in the sauce. Now he's 165. So I suppose if Trey Harris makes it back to us, that's a consideration. Kenyon CD, TJ Hutchinson, great. Dulcich is fine. Helm's fine. And then I want one of these guys as my third tight end. We'll see what happens. Trey Harris is fine as well. Dylan Sampson, Brian Robinson are both okay. I'm okay with them in this range. And yeah, Zachariah Branch would be a fine seventh wideout as well. Ray Davis is good. So yeah, we have some nice options down here. We have some really nice options. Kenyon Siddiq's falling tremendously here, right? He's 10 picks past ADP. So if these guys both make it back to us, grabbing Trey Harris may be a good little move. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Wow, is Sadiq gonna make it all the way back to us? That's wild. That is wild. It would be a double stack, and I don't really have much Trey Harris at all. But I guess maybe it's a good look. I don't know. Um, yeah, F it. Let's go ahead and draft in Trey Harris, and then hopefully we get one of these uh, tight end threats to fall, and if not, we'll click in Dylan Sampson, Brian Robinson, or Ray Davis, or even Sean Tucker. I don't care. I guess Kate Otton's fine too, and then we'll punt. If not, we can punt out, grab Jasecki later. Don't care, and then we're gonna flag Vidal and stick him in at the very end, which we should be fine to grab him in the final round because I don't see him going off the board at all. Sometimes he does. Sometimes random drafters it happens, but I'm not going to take him at 200. Although I suppose maybe I would if we don't grab a tight end here. If we don't grab a tight end here, I maybe snap Vidal here and then just play ball with Jasicki at the end. That's probably how I do it. In fact, that probably is the way to go. And then we can grab our other running back here and feel pretty good about Sampson, Robinson, Ray Davis, Tucker. So we'll take one of these guys, and then we'll grab Jasicki at the very end, and I'm actually going to snap in Vidal above him just so we don't get sneaky sniped. Because if we don't have Jasicki, I don't care. Strange and Henry are fine and completely serviceable. We'll just get whoever. It doesn't really matter. And I don't think Dulcich or Otten or Fryermuth are that high a priority when they're not stacked. So of these guys, who do we want? Um, I don't think it matters. Bye week wise, I don't think it matters either. We'll go ahead and grab Dylan Sampson, I guess. They're all fine. They're all just fine. And then we'll grab Vidal on the turnaround and Jaceki in the third. And yeah, be pretty impressed. Okay, did anybody do anything buck wild in this tournament? Not really. Nakua London Pickens then went Etienne, whatever however you pronounce that. Juckins Price, which I love this. This is a phenomenal catch up. They pull in Prescott and Stafford, so you got Stafford stacked with Nakua, Prescott stacked with Pickens. That's great. Jane Hidden, Shakur, Woody Marks, AJ Barner. Yeah, this team did a great job. This team did a great job going triple wide out and then catching up at running back. Chase Collins Smith went Montgomery Henderson, grabs Hurts, Quentin Johnson, Downs, then grabs Corum. I don't hate that. They obviously have a weaker running back room. Hurts is stacked with Devontae Smith. Goff doesn't look like he got any of his stacking pieces, unless I'm missing something here, but he's still a completely serviceable unstacked quarterback, so that's cool. Let's see what happened with the 12th drafter who decided to go anchor RB strategy. They went Cook, Brown, Wilson, McLaurin, then grabbed Pollard and May, then grabbed Godwin, then grabbed Laporta, then stuck in Rashad White, Golden, Willis, Ferguson, Algier, Jennings, Tesla, and Hawkinson. I think they did fine. But now you have to start Pollard or Rashad White on a week to week basis with Cook. That feels tough. That feels really tough. And I think Algier is fine, but I don't think Algier is going to be consistent. I think Algier is going to be very similar to what we saw him in Atlanta, where he has weeks where it's like this guy is a top five running back in the league, or he scored as a top five running back in the league, couple of touchdowns, 40 yards, whatever. I just don't think you're going to get that week to week. And especially with the inconsistency in that offense, you definitely can't bank on it. So I think having him as your fourth running back is a really tough look, right? Where we are with Hampton and Javonte Williams, so much stronger than Cook and Pollard, in my opinion, as a two by two. We're okay with having Dobbins and Mitchell because again, it doesn't really matter who the week to week upside is. We're betting on Hampton and Javonte Williams in our running back slots producing well consistently. So I mean, I don't see somebody reaching down and snapping off Vidal, but we're still going to snap him off. Again, I just want to try this and see how this works for science. Jaceki is in this range, but if we miss him, I don't really care. I'll grab Stowers or Colby Parkinson or whoever. I guess even Njoku could be a consideration as a stack with Herbert. I just don't know what Njoku looks like in that offense, and so pretty inclined. So like I said, we have all of the Chargers backfield. We have the Chargers quarterback. We've got the Chargers number one receiving threat. We have a backup Chargers receiving threat. This is the Roman Angeles Chargers draft. Feels pretty good. And then we'll again, if Giuseppe makes it back to us, we'll snap him off. If he doesn't, I don't care. Grab whoever as our third tight end and be pretty impressed with how we navigated from the eighth spot. Amon Ra was a nice slide. And Jimbo went to seven here too, which is kind of crazy. But Amon Ra was a nice slide and allowed us to get balanced through four. And yeah, if this team, so in my previous one that I think I posted yesterday, I said, hey, did this team win $10,000? And I went, nah, there's such a conglomeration or amalgamation of a confluence of events that would need to occur for this team to win 10,000. Probably not. Could this team win 10,000? I think a lot easier. And the reason I say that is because if the Chargers do, you know, finally achieve what they're forecasted to do, and we just have all of that offense, especially in week 17, we could win the 10,000 bucks for sure. Okay, final team. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert at quarterback, opting for a 2 QB build over a 3. Omari Hampton, Javonte Williams, J.K. Dobbins, Keaton Mitchell, Dylan Sampson, Kamoni Vidal, at running back, obviously, Amari Hampton, Mitchell, and Vidal, all three pieces of the Chargers backfield. St. Brown. So we are inelastic to McDaniel's play calling. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Lad McConkey, Christian Watson, Jordan Addison, Romeo Dobbs, McMillan, and Trey Harris at wide receiver. McConkey and Trey Harris are both stacked up with Herbert. And then Benton Strange, Hunter Henry, and Mike Gesicki at tight end. Gesicki stacked up with Burrow. I give this draft an A. I give this draft 100% an A. It feels very strong. It feels capable of winning 10,000 bucks. Let's get it. Thank you guys for checking out the draft. Thank you for checking out the channel. I'm posting every day till the season starts. If you like it, please hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment below Would you do this? Would you take all three pieces of the same backfield? Maybe not for every team, but would you do it for the Chargers? Have you done this? What did you think? Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one.